Today, a sunny day. We are in Northbrook, Illinois, and we are approaching Sunset Memorial Lawn Cemetery here on the left. And we are here to see Joseph Wayne Wallace, a little boy, 3 years old, who was viciously killed by his mother. And we're in. Well, guys, doesn't get much worse than, well, doesn't get any worse than this story. I thought when I did that story on A.J. Freund, the little boy that was killed from Crystal Lake by his parents, that was the worst. But you know what? I don't know. This could be worse. And this little boy needs to be remembered. Joseph JOE-MOE Wallace. Joe was born in July in 1989, and he passed away in April of 1993. I will, as we walk towards his grave, I will share with you some of the details of what happened. The mother's name was Amanda Wallace, and she was cursed sadly from the beginning of her life. Her mother was having problems with her right from when she was very little. That is Amanda, and she was inflicting harm to others. She was inflicting harm to herself. A big thing she was doing a lot was starting fires. She almost burned the house down. Her mom said, why did you do that? And she just had no answer. She was suicidal. And at 18, she had already then spent many years in foster care, and then with the state. Of course, her mother had given her up, and so she had a lot of resentment for her mother because of that. Beloved husband Remus A. Campbell passed away in 2017. I see a lot of faces here. Oh my gosh, it's all faces of beautiful people. I'll tell the story as I kind of pan through these. So she at 18, she got out on her own, and she just started doing all kinds of crazy stuff. The one thing she did a lot was smash windows. She smashed store windows just to get put in jail. She attacked people, neighbors, for the slightest thing. There was a nurse, she was in the hospital, that she kind of yelled at to get her something, and the woman just shrugged her shoulders. The nurse just turned away. And that was the wrong thing to do for a very strong, young, 250-pound woman that Amanda was. So Amanda just jumped out of the bed, tackled her, beat the crap out of her, and broke her elbow, among other things. So just bad stuff. And this is a woman that should have never had a child. And she had a boyfriend, and they had a little baby. And the moment that baby was delivered, Department of Children and Family Services took that baby away. And that was Joseph. They did the right thing at first. But what happened was Amanda ended up conning DCFS by saying that, my life's changed. My future of my life is all about my little boy, and all of these lies. It was said by one of the doctors she was very cunning and manipulative. She wasn't crazy. They gave Joseph back to her, and he was living with a beautiful family. I think it was Park Ridge, and they were taking care of him. He was going to school. All the students loved him, and I will talk about that a little bit when we find his grave. And it wasn't long while he was taken away and in his biological mother's care, Amanda. It was one day a week after Easter, a beautiful spring day. She brought him in a room. She told him to stand on a chair, which he did. And she tied a extension cord around his neck, a big long one, and then tied the other side tightly to the transom above the door. She put a sock in his mouth, and with that she used medical tape and to keep the sock in his mouth, and then she waved to him and she said, "So long." And the poor little boy, Joseph, looked back at her, and he was confused, and he waved back at her. And then she kicked the chair out from under him, and he hung to death as she closed the door and walked out. This is little Joseph. I can see his name here. There's a coin here. Youth guidance. Oh, look at that. There's another stone here. It's a beautiful stone. I'm sure the foster parents. We had a neighbor who did this, watched little kids, 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds who parents were drug addicts and all that, and they'd watch them until the parents could get back on their feet or get their life together. Anyway, it says JOE-MOE, that was his nickname. Joseph Wallace, July 29th, 1989 to April 19th, 1993. And there it is, my favorite prayer that I would say when I was little. Now I lay me down to sleep, I pray thee, Lord, my soul to keep. Oh, it breaks my heart to read that. This little boy, this poor little boy, he sure didn't deserve that. It's too bad that DCFS just blew it. And what happened was Joseph was and is the symbol for huge reforms and changes to not only Department of Children and Family Services, Illinois, but also the whole welfare system, which, you know, she was living off the money, and that was incentive to do nothing but go down the tubes. I guess that's how they looked at it. I'm going to, I rarely do this. I like to tell stories, but this is so impactful. There was a Bob Greene column, and I'm going to read a little bit about Joseph. So one of the kids, or the teacher, he was talking to one of the teachers at the Montessori school up here when he was under foster care. The kids loved him. She said, we were on a field trip, and we all went to this farm. It was October 30th. I remember Joe was so excited to go. I don't think he had ever seen a farm before. And she said at the farm, he rode one of the ponies. He liked that a lot. He would stand there and look at the cows and all the goats. He had an intense look on his face. He was very interested in the animals. Well, the children all went on a hayride, and Joe was there, and he was laughing, and he was having a wonderful time. And at the end of the day, each child was allowed to choose a pumpkin. And they did so, but Joe did pick a pumpkin. He picked the smallest one. And he carried that little pumpkin all the way home with him that day. All the other children loved him, she said. I've never witnessed this before. The children seemed to sense that he was a boy who was needing of extra love. And they gave him hugs and kisses all the time. Can you imagine this, guys? We always hear about bullying and all this. And the hearts of children mostly are so good. They would meet him at the door and hug him, as if they'd know. It was as if they knew something was wrong, something was amiss. Joe would bring something from home every day, just something to have, little dinosaur cookies or toy cars. One day he brought a cassette in, just to look at it and play with it. It was like he was fascinated with having possessions. It goes on, and I'll put a link, if I can find it, of the story. This was on the Find a Grave, one of the photos of the article. So that's the story on little Joseph. He's a good little boy, and we hope he's in a much better place. JOE-MOE, hope you are resting in peace, little boy.